Okay, week 4 team tour recap. These ones are interesting. We have a lot of teams right now that are hovering around 2-2. So there's going to be a lot of interchangeable ones. I could definitely see some arguments against this. Number 12 for the third week out of 4. Since you're beginning with the European Union, I feel like I'm just like kicking a dead puppy every time I put this team at 12 and talk about them. Um, Again, they are rated the worst team. Pretty much, I mean, they were 11th last week, so they moved down a spot. This week again, they've struggled in the past weeks. They did beat Echo's team. It was a good win over Echo's team. They actually had some people outside of Equi and Produce, which was nice. But this week again, I mean, they lost like pretty bad. They won one set, Blanket won, which is cool, I guess. But everybody else kind of just lost. Equi and Onet was close. Equi is pretty good. He's been doing well. But I mean, outside of Equi and like getting super favorable matchups, their team just hasn't really been great. Sincere's been struggling a lot. Pac G, I don't think has won a set yet. Yeah, he is not. He's 0-3. Hedges beat Echo that one week. I didn't get to watch a whole lot. I know Hedges won his one game on Pac 2. He did a Pac 2 mix up. But other than that, I mean, this team, again, I've talked about this team a lot. It's just, I think they just miss on a lot of their draft picks. I like Edub a lot, but I think 3 seed is probably a little too high for Edub right now. And outside of Equi, they just haven't really got a whole lot of production. Paxi's kind of struggled at that 4 seed spot. I think he actually got reseeded down to 5. Yeah, he did. They moved Blanket up to 4. So, yeah, they're going to need a lot to turn it around for the rest of the season. Number 11, these two teams just switched. Echo's team has moved up a spot to 11th. I moved them over Equi's team just because Equi's team has done probably slightly worse, and Echo's team at least took this team to like a close set. But you know, this week, you know, Cap versus Wolfgang did not look very good. I'll probably talk about Wolfgang a little bit more when we get to his team. But Cap did not play extremely well, so that doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence for their future in their 4 seed. This is still a team right now that looks like they're pretty top 3 heavy in Eckelbert and Kali. I think their top 3 is quite good, but nobody else outside of them has really been able to produce much besides like Cap, who has still been kind of shaky. Mango has looked not very good, unfortunately. I like Mango, but it's just not doing great. Even Kadi, I think, has been on a slightly downward spiral. He's lost his unemployment buff, which isn't very good for him. Congrats on the new job, though, Gotti. Bert got set in back-to-back weeks, so we haven't seen him for a while. So it's kind of unknown how good he will be. And Ambo, again, he just doesn't play the game a lot. He's a pretty busy person. So right now it's kind of just their top 3, and even Cody hasn't had like a perfect season or anything. Bert has had his struggles. So right now, like, really Echo is the only one that's consistently winning at a good rate for the team. Everybody else has been kind of on the downswing, which sucks because I do like this team. I like a lot of people on this team, but I can't, in my right mind, to put them anywhere above 11 here. Number 10, this is another week they have a better record than a lot of other teams. It's Kyogre's team. I have 1-1-3 team above Kyogre's team. They've dropped 2 spots. They were from 8th to 10th now. This week kind of made me feel like my thoughts about this team were correct. Thank you so much for the follows, BinoCon. But this week kind of made my thoughts correct. Their depth is struggling again. LG, I do think, is pretty solid, but he's kind of had some rough struggles. He got a nice win, though. But Cucumber is just not the best. Isatachi's struggling. Kai is going to do Kai things. Kai is obviously really good. Lightmare has had a really bad season. He's not really performing super well right now. I don't think he's got a good meta for this season. And, you know, he's doing the random pack things. So this team, their depth is just very weak. Jamel's had a bad season too. Really, the only people that have had good seasons have been Kai and Bleb. Outside of that, every other player has had a decent amount of their struggles. So, I do that on that's right. This is right here. I show that. Okay, but yeah, again, without beating the dead horse, I do think that Guy's team has had just a lot of struggles. Their depth just isn't really there. So yeah. Number 9, we have 2007. This is the 1-3 team that I do have above Kai's team. Although, we did drop 3 spots to me. So here, this team, in my opinion, has had the most bright spots out of any of these bottom 4 teams, but we're still just not winning sets. Beast has had his struggles a lot. He's using a lot of swing sets, unfortunately. He's had a really rough season. He's using some favored matchups and things like that. Hoping he can pick it up in the future. Me and Freeze both also lost game 5 or game 7s this week, which is not very good. The bright spots have been good though. I think Nelson is a pretty good 5 seed now. Slop looks like one of the better 6 seeds. This guy is good. The bottom seeds have been playing pretty good overall. They've had some struggles, but I think this team. I mean, again, we've lost either best of 5 or best of 7, game 5s, game 7s. 4 that could have won us 3 different weeks. So like we lost very close sets here. We lost very close sets here, and this could have been either way. So, unfortunately, though, the results, we have to look at the results. Close doesn't matter if you lose. But that is why I think I have them over these 3 teams, because they've shown more, they've had closer sets, and I think I just have a little bit more faith they can bounce back, but I can't, in my right mind, put them anywhere over 9, because I think the other 2-2 teams have been doing quite good. Number 8, we have FBL's team. They moved down 1 spot. They were in 7th last week. Even after the win, they're still a little bit shaky. This week kind of solidified that Buga is probably on a downswing a little bit right now. He's now lost to like back-to-back 7 seed-ish players, 7 seed of skill. I know Cucumber's a 6 seed, but I don't think he's a very strong 6 seed. And he then lost to this guy, who I think is one of the better 7 seeds, but Bugo's been on the struggle. Ernie's also struggling a bit this season. FBL's been doing pretty good. He's been playing his seed and doing pretty well, so that's good for FBL. This was a good bounce back for Rabbit Citizen. It was against Pack 4, though, so we'll see moving forward. And XRB is really good at the game, so... this team does have some bright spots, but, again, I think I do believe a little bit more... in the other team's bottom seeds than this team. And even like Violet Citizen has kind of struggled as a 2 seed. We'll see if he can bounce back from there. Clover is also a good bright spot on this team. Clover looks to be like one of the better 6 seeds. I haven't gotten to personally watch them play, but they have good results and I've heard good things about them. So I'm taking people's word that Clover is pretty good here. And yeah, I don't know. I think this team, again, I just have a little bit less faith, I think, in their team overall. They still, like, just look a little bit weaker on paper compared to the other 2-2 teams. But I could definitely see an argument for them to move up a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see. They have a lot of swing weeks ahead of them. These 2 sets will definitely be a big determiner for playoff position. So we'll see how they go. If they win this week, though, they're going to be in a pretty good spot, I think, for playoffs. Number 7, we have T-Dix team. They moved up 3 spots. They were in 10th last week. They got a very nice win this week over Moose's team. Over Equi's team. Not Moose's team. Moose's team was the week before that. But this week, this actually showed that their depth can win games a little bit more. Mirko winning is very nice. Again, this team, though, I thought, the issue right now is T-Dix, Ona, and Oscar have been doing very well, okay? They've been playing good. They're winning their sets. The issue is the rest of the production. Mirko winning is nice, but Cheesemaster and Wombat haven't had the best season. So And even Pooh Balls has lost some weeks that I think he's probably getting up. He got upset in. He lost to LC and he also lost to Violet. So he's having a little bit of a rough season. Oscar's been doing well though. So like these three are kind of their pillar of consistency, for their wins, which is nice. But again, the reason they're not a little bit higher is because I do trust in the teams above them, their depth a little bit more. But this team again, I think they're good. T-Disc has been playing like a very good player. I think T-Disc is quite good right now. Onet, he's had a little shaky stuff, but he's got some decent results still. The question will be if they do make it to the playoffs, are they going to be able to play Onet confidently against the other top 1 seeds and win every week? We'll see in the future. Who did they play? He lost to XRB. They play this team. It will be interesting if they play him versus like Damon here, or something. And they play against this team. We've got some good people. So there'll be some good tests for Onet to see where he's at before the playoffs if they make it, to kind of get a good gauge on who they should play. But yeah, good week for them. Moved up the ladder. Can't really say too many bad things, except again, their depth has been a little shaky. We'll see moving forward how they look. Number 6 is we have Violet's team. They've been on a huge rise every single week pretty much. They moved up 3 spots from 9th to 6th. This is a team on paper that I think, coming into the season, I picked as one of the best teams. I thought them and Kai were going to be good. That shows what I know. But I think coming into the season, I had them as, I think I picked this as the team I thought was going to win the whole thing. Because I think their depth and their team is just really good on paper if you look at it. Like, Rekbar is, one of the best in the game. Owl's a really good 2 seed. Violet's a good 3 seed. Muff is kind of, all over, but he can beat some good players sometimes. He's all over, but, he's got his moments. Terry's a pretty good 5 seed. Pikes is a grinder. And even Lyco has been playing pretty good. They lost the first 2 weeks. But lately, they've been kind of on the come up. I couldn't in my right mind put them below T-Disc's team. Because, again, they played seed for seed here against on his top 4, and they won. So, I had to give them the edge over Tita's team. This was a nice week for them. Maybe a little closer than you'd like it, but you won either way. You won your sets pretty convincingly too, so can't be too mad about it. So yeah, they've just been on the come up. They have a good team. Lyco's been performing pretty well. Pikes, I've heard, is grinding a lot. We'll see if he can bounce back. I know he started kind of rough. I think he's like 0-3 right now. But he's a grinder. We'll see if he gets it prepared. And a good thing for them too about this week is since they beat Kai's team, they now kind of have tie. This would be nice because beating Kai's team is very important right now if you're trying to make playoffs in the Theory Conference. Because right now, as long as you can outperform these 2 teams, which again Kai's team doesn't seem like they're going to be doing super well in the future, and Echo's team who's struggling right now, you should be pretty solidified. So the sets against these 2 teams are more heavily weighted than sets against other teams. Same thing over here. You want to really beat the teams that could really fall out of the playoffs to secure your spot, with 4 teams making it. But yeah, just overall, they've been performing a lot better these last 2 weeks. Their matchups have been slightly better, I think. The first 2 weeks, they kind of had bad matchups, and they benched either Owl or Rekbar. So it was kind of hard to get a tell on them, but they've been climbing through the ranks, and I think this team, again, looks really good. Because definitely see them jumping up. This will be an interesting tested week. They're playing without Rekbar against one of the best teams in the league. So if they can upset here, this is definitely a team to watch out for if they get everything clicking when they need to. Number 5, a team that is falling a little bit. They've moved down 2 spots. This is Moose's team. Catch these Drew Hands. They're 2-2, 10-10 in sets. They didn't have their best week this week. They kind of just got blown out, honestly. Amza 1-3-0, Damon 1-3-0, Rex 1-3-0, Hop 1-3-1, and even their win was not very convincing. It went all the way to Game 5, or maybe in Game 7. I can't remember how long their set was, but it went to the final game. And I saw Ruham was a little bit shakier from I was in and out of that set, so I don't have like in-depth analysis of that set, but I know Ruham was a little bit shakier from what I was looking at. Um, so it wasn't great. Again, they were playing a really good team. Like they were playing Hop's team, and Hop's team played their top three, and their top three is a good top three. Um, and Moose was benching extra high, but still, you would want it to be a little closer than this. It was just not a very good week. I still do have some faith they can come back, but honestly, the most worrying sets to me here are like Bublavat and Gruyan being so close. But like Bublavat is somebody who had performed very well recently, but and Rex has kind of had his struggles throughout the season. But so it's a little scary because before we were kind of okay sacrificing the top three. Like they don't have anybody right now who's like super good. In terms of like top 5, top 10 player, Moose is good, but he's not like top 10 right now. So their hope was that their depth would carry them at least to the regular season, and then trying to get good matchups in the playoffs. But if their bottom is also kind of struggling, which they did this week, and Moose and Casil kind of aren't playing their seed, it's going to be really hard for this team in the future. That being said, they still have bright spots. S has been playing good. Rurihan did still win, and he's been scaling pretty nicely. And I think Moose can always bounce back. Moose is still a good player. Maybe not his meta, but he can always turn it on at any time. So, this team still does have bright spots, but they definitely, I think, had to get moved down because of the rough week they had. And even, they just had their struggles throughout the season, especially with their top seeds. So we'll see. There might be a balance update coming soon. So maybe that turns a little bit more into this team's meta. We'll see how they adapt to that with, maybe the top players switching up a little bit with new metas. Number 4, a team stays the same. Turn 9 times 9. They were 4th last week, still 4th this week. They're 2-2. 10-10, that's still just a really good team. Not a whole lot to say about them. They did lose this week to Katarba's team. And that is the reason why, again, spoiler, Katarba's team was higher than Nob's team. They won they beat Nob's team. I think they played pretty seed for seed. This is Katarba's top 5, and this is also Nob's top 5. So it was both their teams' top 5s playing, so I have to, give the edge to Katarba's team. And Nob is the reason that this team might not be slightly higher. While I do think Nob is still good, he's been a little bit all over the place. Nixer took him to Game 5. Nob lost to me, and those are the only 2 weeks he's played so far. Monkey has also been kind of struggling at his seed. The bright spots on this team, though, have been, in theory, Kelby, Crocs, OG. Kelby's played really good for his seed. Crocs finally has moved to a 3 seed. He did lose his first week against a 3 seed. It went all the way to Game 7. So, obviously you'd want him to win, but you can't expect anybody to have a perfect season in a game like this. So, losses are going to come, and Gio's been on the rise. OG's continually winning sets that he's unfavored in. I don't know what's going on with OG. He's got some, superhuman power that he just wins somehow. Good wins for OG, I suppose. So, yeah, this team is just really good. I have them over a lot of these other 2-2 teams because I think their top 4 is really strong. Even OG as a 5 is winning sets. Pogai is still undefeated. Again, I never thought I'd be saying that. And if K-Tum starts playing, learns the meta a little bit, he can also be a good 6 seed. So, team is very deep. Just need to see, I think Nob and Monkey kind of are the X factors in terms of making sure they can beat their seeds and winning important sets, because in the playoffs when you can't bench people, every team's going to be at their full strength. You're going to need at least Nob or Monkey probably to be able to beat, a 1 or a 2 seed every week in playoffs. Which right now they've been kind of struggling, but, we'll see how they move on. I think, again, I have faith that Nob can bounce back for sure. So, yeah, good team. Some struggles, but I think one of the better 2-2 teams. And now the highest 2-2 team that I have, number 3, Katarba's team. The last 2-2 team. Again, all of these teams have the same record, very interchangeable. Katarba's team moved up 2 spots. Again, a huge win over Nob's team this week. And this team, I think, has now turned into probably one of the deepest teams, if not the deepest team in the league. If we just look purely at their roster now, Katarba's a pretty good 1 seed. Sag's a pretty good 2 seed. Gio has been playing really well this season. I feel like Gio's improvement hasn't been talked about enough to me. Gio was somebody coming into the season that I was like, okay, maybe he'll be like an alright 4 seed. Because he's been kind of struggling the last few seasons. Kind of going under the radar. Not had the best seasons. But Gio's been playing really good lately. I've even played him a bit. His Pack 1 looks pretty solid. He's getting nice wins. Gio is not talked about enough on how good he's really been playing so far, I think. He's definitely maybe a candidate for most improved this season with how good he's been playing. I don't know if the stats show it or last season shows it, but Gio, to me, has been playing extremely well. So shout out to Gio. Coke has been very weird. I think Coke is really good at the game. I've watched him a lot. I've played him a good amount. I think he is good. He's kind of had his struggles though. Like he got taken a game 7 by Lulakita. He got a win over Cucumber, which is kind of expected. He didn't play this week, and then this following week he played OG and lost. So he has not had the best statistical season. He's 1-2, and he lost to OG, who he probably should be beating. Oh, sorry, he's 2-1, but he almost lost to Lulakita. So not the best statistical season, but I think I don't know. He's just had a weird season, so we'll see if he bounces back. I think he's good, so I think he will bounce back. But I still think he's one of the better 4 seeds. Honestly, he just had his rough stretches. Snickster has not been very good, even though he did take down the game 5. So didn't get to watch it. It wasn't streamed, so not really sure how good he was playing or not. I don't know if it was like a low roll, but I do think Snickster was way too high as a 3 seed. I think he got drafted too early, but he got made up for with Jew and Coke doing so well. That being said, I think Snickster is a really good 5 seed. I think as a 3 seed, a little too overrated, a little too much. But as a 5 seed, Snickster's a really good 5 seed. So it helps their depth that these two guys have been performing so well. And I think Snickster, playing in his own seed, is probably favored over most people at the 5 seeds. So Tapir is also a good 6 seed for the most part. The sets that I've seen when I watch him, he's not the best player. He makes mistakes. He's still newer, but he's a good player. He beat LG, who I think is pretty good. He did lose to Ruhan, which is expected, I think, and he did lose to Philip, which is also probably expected. But I think Tapir's pretty good. Get some more practice in, and I think he could definitely, be a good player. He's been grinding, so it's always good. And the Jiggy has not looked very good, honestly, but you never know. Number 2 is Strawberry Hat Pirates. They were number 2 last week, number 2 this week. They're 12-8 in sets. They have a 3-1 record. This team is just looking really good. They're just winning. What can I say? If a team's winning a lot, I can't really put much hate on them. They beat Moose's team, who again I think is strong. This kind of shows. We've had their question marks about their lowest seeds throughout this week or throughout the season. But Goose taking Wuhan to game 5 is nice. Rex winning is very good. We haven't seen a whole lot of Super Phoenix sets to where it's playing against their own seed. I think he has to play the rest of the season. We'll see how he shows out. But Amza took care of Flip. And Flip beat a Pac 2 player. Flip also beat Pac G, which again, Amza is better than Pac G, but it shows that Flip is decent against this pack, and Amza still beat him, which is nice. So good wins there. Just a good win. They beat a strong team in Moose's team. Damon is looking like a top 5 player in the game right now. He's performing super well. Hop's Pack 2 or Hop is also looking good, especially as a 2 seed. So this team is looking good. Not a lot of bad things I can say about them. They're getting good matchups. Hop's one of the best captains in the league. And Damon's performing super well. So, this team's doing really good, and not a whole lot of bad things I can say about them. Again, we've had their question marks here. We'll see how it goes through the season. But, there's a reason they're separated above the other 2-2 teams and why they're the best team in their conference. And now, if you guys couldn't have guessed it, it's the team. It's been here the whole time, pretty much. Semi-Professionals is number 1 to me. They're 4-0 record. Have they been in every week? No, they were second in week 2, and after that, they've been first throughout all the weeks. They're 4-0, 13-7 in sets. This team is just on a slaughter. they're beating teams. They're managing. They're benching well. I think Simi might be getting a little help from their top people, which again, that's no discredit to Simi, but they're doing a really good job managing the team. Their depth is super strong. People are winning the sets they need to win, and so on. It will be interesting to see how this team performs, especially if the patch update comes. I wonder how that will affect these teams. I don't know if it will be positive or negative. This team, they're winning though. You can't really say much hate on them. I still think Fluffo is a pretty good 1 seed. He's had his struggles. I know he's kind of shaky currently, but he holds his weight. Noob Skills is a good 2 seed. Anonymous is a good 3 seed. Philip is beating the people he needs to beat. Wolfgang right now is kind of weird. I think Wolfgang might be a little overrated right now. I don't think he's bad by any means, but from watching him, I don't think he's playing insanely well. That being said, he's not streaming his perspectives, so maybe he's just not getting good shops. But I think he's being a little overrated right now by a lot of people. Just because I think putting him over some people that he's over is a little much, but he's winning, so you can't hate too much. But he did beat Jiggy and Pikes, and then almost beat Cap. But I think people are maybe overrating him a little bit, but he's still doing good in the season, so we'll see. Simi's a good 6 seed, probably. Meshes are pretty good. And then Lilakita's had good performances, outperforming her seed. And, I honestly wasn't expecting Lilakita to play super, super insane this season. They weren't playing a whole lot, but I think I've heard they've been grinding a good amount. So, but Lilakita, they've been doing good. There's not a whole lot, again, I can say about this team. They're 4-0. I can't hate too much on them. They won every week, so they're very willing, very deserving on the spot, and they're definitely the favorites right now. But I don't think they're miles ahead of the pack. Even the weeks that they've won, they're very losable weeks. So Ambo Phillip, they went to Game 7. Lilakita Rex went to Game 7 or Game 5, I think it was. New Skills Violet went to Game 5. So they're winning when it matters, which is the most important thing in my opinion in Team Tour. Winning the Game 5s when they really matter, because that's what it comes down to. That's what changes a 4-0 team like this team to a 1-3 team like 2007 is they're winning the swing sets when they matter in Game 7, and this team isn't, which is kind of how it shows out. So we'll see if they can continue doing that. I have not done the math, but I'm 90% sure this team is probably locked in for playoffs mathematically right now. So congrats to them. They're probably in playoffs. They have good tiebreakers, and they're 4-0. So I'm pretty sure mathematically they should be a lock for playoffs, even if they shit out the last 3 weeks. So good for them. So yeah, here's all the changes shown a little bit more. In 12th, Equi's team 1-3. They went down a spot in 11th. Echo's team also 1-3, but they moved up from 12th. Kai's team has been on a steady decline. They're 2-2. They moved down 2 spots. Tier 007, 9th, 1-3. They went down 3 spots. FBL 2-2. They went down a spot. Cheetahs in 7th, 2-2. They went up 3 spots. Violet, they've been on the rise lately. I think they're a good team. We'll see how they perform. They're 2-2. They went up 3 spots. Moose 2-2. They went down 2 spots after a rough 4-1 loss. Knob 2-2 stayed the same. I think 4th is a good spot for them right now. They still have some question marks, but they're still a really strong team. 3rd, Katarba's team, they've been performing really well, showing their depth a lot. So they moved up 2 spots in 3rd. Then Hop's team 3-1, 12-8 in sets, stayed 2nd. They've been performing really well, and the only loss they've had is against the undefeated team, who is in 1st. Simi's team 4-0, 13-7 in sets, and they've been 1st for the last 3 weeks. They were 2nd in week 1. So thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully season's moving really fast. Over halfway through the regular season, so it's been a fun season, and we'll see what happens in week 5.